Jessica takes on the Chicago police. Nick and Jessica start a relationship. Angela still feels overshadowed by Jessica. Hey, it's a black girl magic kind of night, so let's do this, Pearson After Show. Let's go!
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
All right, what is going on, people? How you guys doing out there?
How you doing?
Whether it's by whether you're listening to us by whatchamacallit, whether it's YouTube and the stream or by podcast. Yes. Thank you guys for joining us. Hey, we are in the LA studio tonight. It is hot outside. It is warm, kind of like what's going on the Pearson After Show. Things heating up.
Oh my God, tell me about it. Things are heating up. I mean, Jessica's no joke.
That's what I'm saying. And if I start sweating, people, it's not because of the heat. It's because of what we're going to be talking about tonight, because it was on and cracking.
Yeah.
Faux show. What's up, After Buzzers? Thank you guys again for, like I said, joining the show. Big shout out to you guys. You guys are our third co-host out there. We definitely are interested in what you guys have to say. So, you know, I don't know what I was thinking of a name actually for our people, whether we could call them Pearsonians or Pearsonites, maybe. You know, like the fans, maybe
Pearsonites.
You know, but yeah, we're gonna get into it. But before we do that, just to let you know, we're gonna have news later on. We're gonna have our three hot topics. We're gonna have a special segment. You're in contempt.
You're in contempt.
Yes, you are. And we want to hear from you guys too. What your in contempt moment was. Before we get started, I'm Tanir Williams, your host, and this is my lovely co-host,
Jackie Nova.
Yes, indeed, and we are here to talk some Pearson. So let's get into it, because it was definitely some stuff going on tonight. Ooh. I want to start with the first thing that I mentioned, Jessica taking on the Chicago police. Man, it was well. First of all, let's back up a little bit. Let's go into the Jessica and Carrie relationship. So, obviously, in episode 1, we saw them kind of started out. They were butting heads because Jessica just was kind of the big dog from New York. Came in, Carrie felt, you're stepping on my territory.
Yes, let me tell you something. New Yorkers, because I am from New York.
Here we go.
And Chicago women always butt heads. I mean, it just doesn't fail. So when watching this and seeing Jessica coming from New York, going to Chicago, and then, you know, Carrie, the blonde, the little cute blonde there, and she's just like, you're not going to take over Chicago.
Well, like you said, and Jessica, she's there to shake up the status quo. So, I mean, even in the first episode, you know, she had mentioned, Carrie said, like, you don't understand how things are done around here. And Jessica's like, I don't really care. Like, I'm here to get stuff done. You know, you guys do stuff over dinners and pat each other's back, and if it's not getting stuff done, don't care.
She doesn't care because, like, she does know how, like, she knows how it works in Chicago. She has family in Chicago.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that people at where she's working at the, you know, City Hall, they don't know that about her, but slowly they're going to know.
I think she's indoctrinating them like pretty quick,
really
like who I am, everybody she comes in contact
First
with,
day.
you know. And so one of the things, like I said, I mean, the main objective of this episode was, like you said, the city of Chicago had apparently a contract with the city or the Chicago police. It looked like they were going through some contract negotiations. Yeah. Carrie, she said, I'd been working on this for 6 months. Looked like she was ready to get ready for them to sign. Dude comes in and is like, can't do it. The union leader, the lawyer, I forgot his name, but he comes in, says, can't do it. Jessica Pearson's on the staff. She just roasted the department before she got here.
Oh, I believe Eric. Yeah, he was ticked.
Yeah, so, you know, and Carrie's just like, here we go again. This woman is like ruining.
Yes, you know? It's like Carrie, you could tell that like her little horns were coming out. She was like, here goes this Pearson again. She's messing things up. But in actuality, that's not what she's there for.
No.
You know, and I think I stand by Pearson. I'm totally for Pearson.
Well, and it was interesting because I kind of think, like you said, they kind of had, again, that butting of heads, but they kind of had that little come to Jesus moment in the office where Jessica was like, look, I feel guilty. I feel bad about, you know, basically you did all this hard work and they're basically not doing this because of me, you know, and she kind of had that, you could kind of see like, Carrie was still a little reluctant. She's like, I don't know if you're like kind of putting on a show, or are you trying to, are you really like remorseful? Right. And she was just, I think Jessica actually said, you'll just have to trust me.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Carrie just was having a difficult time trusting Pearson. But, we'll get to it later.
Right.
It's nice how she was like, well, I mean, God, what do I have to lose? Like, I mean, she's opened up a can of worms.
Right.
Like, here's like the paparazzis, and here are all these people tweeting and all over the social media. Like,
and it's interesting because I kind of feel just this whole situation dealing with the police, like you really get to see. I don't know if it's like Chicago politics in particular, but you're just like I kind of feel, like I said, I have family who, like I said, both my parents are from there. I have a lot of family there. And I kind of feel that's like a real thing, just in terms of, I'm sure every city has their, these kind of politics that go on. But it feels like, especially like in Chicago. And if there's people from Chicago out there and you want to, chime in or be like, that's real or that's not,
Yes,
but
please comment.
Yes, let us know. But I feel like, it's kind of like, hey, they stick to their own, like you said, the police are real, about themselves. And like you said, they don't really appreciate an outsider, specifically from New York, because the police chief, he made that comment when he was talking to the mayor, like, you brought in, she's from New York, like all this stuff. So it's kind of like she's not one of.
She's disbarred.
Right.
I mean, like how if they were giving $100 away for each time they say disbarred, I'd be pretty happy camper right now, because they kept, poor Jessica, they just kept throwing it at her like, disbarred, dun, 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 dun,
right,
disbarred.
And Carrie, like you said, kept saying in terms of, like you said, she kind of just feels like, man, is this just going to keep coming up, making my job harder to get stuff done around the city with, people that we already have relationships with, the city does, the mayor, all this stuff. So, but they ended up getting it together, or like I said, Jessica once again gets in there, works her magic, and comes to a deal, somehow with the police, who even the mayor was like, what did you do? Like, how?
Yeah, like, how did this,
type things.
I think it was cute how Carrie was just like, just trust me, it's going to make you look good. Just go with it.
Right.
But be backing it up even more so, I thought it was so sweet how I didn't even really fully realize that Jessica is related to that sweet Lillian, that older lady, who I thought was her mother at first, but no, it's like her aunt.
Must be like her aunt, because it's her cousin's mom, I think. So yeah, that's what I put together.
Super sweet. Oh my Lord. I love how she went to her apartment and brought groceries. And it's not because she feels sorry for them. That's family. That's what family does. And if you are a little more fortunate, you just tend to want to give, especially when they have little kids and you're living in a, in a less fortunate type of.
Right. Well, you saw the aunt was not trying to turn it over. She was like, oh, it's perfect. I was like, that's why I was like, she's just like a real black lady in there, because first of all, when she came over to cook breakfast in the morning, and Jessica was like, oh, like I got to go. And she was like, no. You tell your boss, like, breakfast is, and I was like, I can so relate. Like, that's like my grandma, or like someone, like, no, you're not going anywhere. You're going to eat.
No.
Finish that food before, and I was that. So that I related to that
moment.
It's
the most important meal of the day.
And it was funny because all powerful Jessica even had to bow to, like, you know what? Okay. I'm not going to go against Aunt Lillian here. So let me.
Did you see that little thing, that picture of Carl?
Right.
It was a picture that she wasn't supposed to reveal.
I thought that they were going to go. I thought that was going to be a big part of the show. Because like you said, they kind of just threw it in there like, oh, you weren't supposed to see that. I was like, oh, they're for sure going to come back and visit this. But I guess they will
visit it.
They will.
They did not place that.
They teased it last week as like, I thought it was, like you said, it was going to be like, oh, he's part of the murder. You thought the mayor's brother was going to be part of it because he had pictures like near the murder or something. So I was like, oh, and they just totally did like we're not even touching that right now.
We're not even touching that. Oh, but see, that's the beauty of these writers. These writers are there's this little droplets of these little hints and clues, and they just get us so hooked where we're like, okay, well, I got to watch the next episode because I need to know what is up with that picture and what is up with
that. Is the phenomenal stuff, because you feel like you said, whether it's either next episode or a couple episodes back, it'll be like, remember when back in episode 2? Oh man, like this, So you guys doing? I hope you're. I'm believing you guys are setting us up for a good like,
Yes.
oh, I didn't see that coming type thing.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. So yeah.
that should definitely be good. But also, like you said, dealing with the police contract. I feel like I said that maybe we see a little bit of a turn in the Carrie Jessica relationship there, because I honestly I thought it might be like maybe 5 episodes in. Like I thought that they'd just be button heads and there was going to be something. But the fact that she had that kind of vulnerable moment with Carrie. Now I still feel that Jessica is like, I'm still the one running things, and maybe she had her moment of, hey, look, I do feel bad that this whole situation's falling apart mostly because of me. Yeah. But I would be like, don't get it twisted. Like, I'm weak because I'm still Jessica Pearson. I'm here to.
Oh, well, she mentions that throughout the episode. She definitely is like, what is up?
Right.
What is bothering you? I think it was Derek she mentioned, right? What's happening? What's bothering you? No, you need to let me know.
Right. No, she's definitely not mincing words with anyone.
No,
she's like,
not.
Let's get right down to it.
Yeah, let's get down to it. If not, you do not want to see me upset.
Right.
You don't want to see me get angry at you.
Right.
Around that area, what she was saying, it's just wild. Like she's just boom.
And it was so funny at the end of the episode when they were the mayor was making his speech. Hey, we came to an agreement. We got this contract done. And the fact that the police like really just don't like Jessica, but it's always like you said, just politics where everybody puts on those faces, and everybody's like, yes, like we love Jessica, and everybody smiles.
Oh, you're talking about like when they were having their press conference.
Yeah, exactly, at the end. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I did not see it coming, this press conference at all. I did not even think that Jessica would even, Miss Pearson would even speak. But of course she's going to speak. She's
always got something like like the ace in the hole somewhere. Like, she's never going to be totally out of it. And it was, and that was
a treat.
It was actually an interesting, also an interesting subject that they brought up in terms of the blue flu, where they were saying that, hey, Chicago police, they won't strike because it's in their contract that they can't, but that everybody will call in sick. And I've thought about that before, just being in life. I was always like, what if like the police like weren't around? I mean, as much as people and there've been some things out there, where you're just like, oh man, that's terrible. But man, if the police weren't around, for like a day, or like you said,
goodness gracious,
or like the movie the Purge. I don't know. Yes. That's what that movie's based. Like if there was no law for like a day and people could just go crazy and.
It'd be mayhem.
It would be.
It would be. You know what? And I think the thing is like as a community, I think sometimes we even just not like on purpose, but I think by default, we just take advantage of the fact that we can like strom around this earth and feel safe. I know I feel safe when I do cross countries because I know we do have protection. But imagine, like you're saying, like if we didn't have any protection, we'd be like, bandits running around and we've got, right. Like back in the cowboy days.
And then like you said, especially the neighborhood that they were in, Lillian was just like, I would be scared to be out on the, if there's no, I mean, she's like, there already is like what did she say? Like the limited presence or like if so, but if like there was nobody.
Yeah.
Man, it would be something. So
I love this show so far. I mean, it actually teaches you things and it makes you be a little bit more aware. Like, I mean, I always knew that the police departments and city halls, like, I mean, it's all in cahoots. They're all together. Like they all work together. It's like a unit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're not really paying attention so much to it, you kind of just like, it just slips out of your mind like, right. Oh, they don't work. Of course they work together.
And it's and like you said, it's like at times they will work, but depending on whose hand is getting fed, or like like when the mayor and the police chief were talking, and he was like, man, I did this on the last negotiations, I gave you this, and that, but I can't tell my people that, we know where the money came from, all this stuff, and how he has to posture like, I can't, for my people, I gotta stand up and you gotta take this L tonight, unfortunately, and it's just like, hey, that's the way the game goes.
It is how the game goes, and it really is reality.
Yeah,
because that's happening in reality.
Oh, all the time, and like you said, in terms of the issues that they deal with, I feel that's real life stuff going on. And there's just never any just a clear-cut way of doing, like you said, even like some of the issues that the mayor, has to deal with. I mean, I don't know, because of the writing, like sometimes you're like, he's terrible. He should go take care of these schools over there, take care of these kids in this neighborhood.
What is he doing?
But like you said, if he's doing this, you're going against another, group, or someone else's, or some other faction is getting sacrificed or something, so it's,
there's a lot.
It is. I mean, it's pretty, it's pretty easy to just point fingers and be like, man, this guy, but it's like, man, if you're in this, and like you said, especially when you start dealing with a lot of stuff that the mayor deals with, you got, whether it's sneaky people coming in, greasing palms, paying you out, like, hey, I'm gonna need this done, and we still don't know what people, specifically Pat McGann, has on him. His name surfaced, even though he wasn't in the episode tonight.
It
but
keeps surfacing.
It's going to come out at some point, and I feel that maybe that'll be one of the bombshells of the season. Like what he did,
Shady Pat.
Yeah, So
I mean, well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no,
you were gonna go on. I was just gonna say how Carrie. I don't know how she could feel good about herself.
Oh yeah, that's.
He's married.
Yeah, and you know what? I knew that was going to be, because you find yourself, and maybe this is due, credit to the acting, or the actors. Like sometimes you do, like I said, when I saw that last week, I was like, oh, Carrie, like now you. Yeah. But then you see her, like she's really trying to, she's working with, Jessica, or they're. At times you'll be feeling like, okay, well maybe she's not, to it. Then at the end, when the mayor was talking to her, like. Yeah, I'm gonna go home and tuck in my kids. Like, is that okay or something?
Right. I was like, what the?
Are you asking?
Is she like your wife now too? Did we skip an episode where they got married?
She was like, it's okay. Like,
it's okay.
Like, you can't get this if you go home. And I'm like, well, I mean, we already know like where the mayor stands on that. So
right.
That's
going to be interesting.
He's just got a whole lot going on. This guy.
He does. I mean, okay, a man who's a mayor, he's got so many different issues to address and fix and all that stuff. And then he's just going to. I mean, I guess it's an easy way he needs to release himself.
I mean, he's dealing with his brother. He's got Carrie. He's got Jessica. He's dealing with the police people, all this other stuff. Yeah, he's got a lot going on. So, we'll see, Mr. Bobby D'Amato, how you handle things, going forward. So
it's always un Italiano. Oh man, I gotta tell you, I love how they are mixing Spanish. They're mixing that right in there. I am just like, go on, girl, Miss Pearson. Do it up.
Miss Gina Torres, who Jackie had pointed out to me is Cuban.
She's Cuban. She's Latina. Yo soy Dominicana, but she's ella cubana.
Right. And I wonder if, like, even in the writing, if she was like, hey, you could throw some of that in there, because that's part of my
I bet heritage, No, I bet. Because her, like myself, I love her character. Because I feel, I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, but I feel like my characteristic is very boss-like, powerful, and I usually
dealing with the boss.
I love characters like Pearson. Right. I absolutely love it.
Oh yeah, no, I've ever since, like I said, going back to Suits when I first saw her character, I was like, this girl, like, not this girl, this woman right here, she's in there mixing it up, so she's definitely brought that over. So just keep up the good work, Miss Torres. Yes. You be bringing that fire, representing. Before we move on to the next topic, though, in terms of, as we kind of shift away from the police and shift into a little bit more of her personal life, we have a little message for all of our AfterBuzzers out there that we'd like to get out.
Yes, indeed. So for us to continue to grow here at AfterBuzz, all we need to do is just subscribe, comment, like, thumbs up. Please, on iTunes, give it 5-star rating. No matter where you are, please write your comments. We write back. I mean, you can check it out right now. Like, I've commented back on people that have commented. We love you here at AfterBuzz, and we can do what we love to do and share and be part of, like, you're our third eye. You are a host as well, and we love you so much. And thank you again for making us the ESPN of TV talk. We love you guys. Thank you for allowing us to do what we love here at AfterBuzz and bringing it home to you wherever you are, on your cell phones, on your earbuds, in your TVs, in your laptops, iPads. Bam! We love you here at AfterBuzz. Thank you for helping us keep growing every single day. Keep sharing, like, thumbs up, all that good stuff, comments.
Wow, 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 wow. There's my horns right there. Like, here we go. So again, if you guys listen to us, by podcast, anything, give us 5 stars on iTunes. Put it out there. All right. So moving on, the next subject that I wanted to dive into was, like I said, going from the hardcore Jessica at work, putting it down on folks, getting in there, whether it was the police, or Bobby himself, to kind of moving to we had touched on it earlier, dealing with her family, so she had the little encounter with Aunt Lillian in the beginning, but I really wanted to touch on the relationship still going on with Angela. That's her cousin. Yeah. So we see Angela come up. She gets into nursing school. Things are kind of on the up and up for them.
That's exciting.
And she has a little moment where Aunt Lillian, it was like, oh yeah, went and saw, when she's, where are the eggs at? Oh, I went and saw Jessica cook some breakfast.
When she said, I'm going to make pancakes, I said to myself, because I love making pancakes, and my son loves, he's like, you make the best pancakes in the whole wide world. And I'm just saying to myself, oh my God, didn't she just take eggs over to, I was like, I put two and two together real quick, and I'm going, I hope there's more eggs in there for those pancakes. And boom, that's what it was.
You could see on her face, as soon as she was like, oh, I went to make breakfast at Jessica's, she was just had the eye roll. I mean, she held it together for her kids, like, hey, you guys want nuggets or whatever? But it was just like, this woman, like, here Jessica comes. Like,
traicionera. Right. Why are you backstabbing me for?
I could just picture it, just like, here we go with this heifer.
Her. She's this lawyer, and she just has all the money in the world.
And she's like, it's interesting again, and we were talking about it earlier, how Jessica's got everything together, and when it comes to work-wise, like, she is, the author and finisher of everything. But when it comes, the family life, specifically, like with her, like I said, her cousin, I don't think she really has an issue with Aunt Lillian, but really her cousin Angela. Something must have had. There's some kind of history.
Yes, and I can't
that
wait.
She can't shake or whatever, And I feel like sometimes Jessica is like, man, give me a like.
Yeah, that's the feeling I was getting. I was like, poor Jessica.
Like, I'm trying to help out.
I really just want to get to know you.
Right.
Can you give me that chance to get to know you?
Right.
And I was just again rooting for Pierce. Jessica. I was just like, come on. Right. Give your cousin a chance, please, here. Just, and yes, please write in your comments, like, what do you think?
Right.
Like,
and I kind of feel
she deserves a chance.
And I guess I kind of feel if she feels intimidated by Jessica or something there, because like you said, even when she's bringing the food over, she's like, we don't need like your charity or, and she's just like, hey, I was really just coming over, bringing this stuff over, and she's just harping on. So I don't know if she's like so independent, like, we don't need no help. Like, where are you? Like, she feels like she's gonna leave her because she said, we survived before you.
Yeah. So see, that's like a little hint right there. We survived before you.
Right.
Which means, for my ears, if we survived before you, she must have been so busy as a lawyer in New York that she just didn't keep in contact with her family in Chicago, which were very needy. Like, not needy. They just needed some assistance.
Maybe, yeah.
And she kind of was this big boss, on Wall Street or whatever, and like, didn't even throw a little bone, like just throw a little help when they actually needed it. And maybe, who knows, like, she actually probably asked for some help, and we just don't know that yet. But it's going to be so revealed, because this is written so beautifully, and the actors just perform it so effortlessly.
It'll be interesting, like you said, to see what that history somewhere. I feel like they're going to have to dive. Like, I feel like it could come to a momentous, like, just climax where like someone's gonna explode, or just be like, what is it do you want, and it's like, you didn't do this, and then we're like, what? Like, now we know exactly. So
now we know what happened.
I definitely want to see that continue. But really, it was like you said, that really set off the episode when she found this whole police strike was really going to affect her family. Then she kind of kicked it into high gear, and she even told Carrie, she was like, my family lives on the South Side. This is going to, if these police strike, this is like affecting me, like, personally.
Personally. Like, just don't think because I am a very wealthy, lawyer. I mean, because she's still a lawyer.
Right.
It doesn't matter. I don't care what they did.
Right.
She's still a
I
lawyer.
don't care what you
And
know,
she's gonna
license
get-
or not.
She's
still a
gonna
lawyer.
get that back anyway.
Right, right. Yeah, so it's that's like you said, that really kicked things into high gear. Like when things are at your doorstep, you probably definitely. I mean, I think she still probably had a good heart, but when it was like, hey, this my aunt's talking about, she's fearful and stuff. Like we need to get stuff done. And she's like, I'm the agent that will get this done. So
yeah, whatever I need to do to make it happen,
Yes.
please let's make it happen because now my family is going to be in danger.
Yes, sir. Now, on a side note, kind of dealing that came out of that, dealing with the family and the whole police strike, we start to see Jessica and Nick D'Amato, Mayor's brother.
Yes.
The driver, kind of
Who, like at first, right? He did not want anything to do with
first
Jessica.
episode. I mean, first episode,
What?
like first couple minutes, like why is she here? Like very,
very, very defensive.
against it. Yeah.
Like, boom, I don't want nothing to do with her.
And now he's we see him like, hey, protecting her during the little paparazzi scrum, gets her in the car. I can take you over to, where was to go, like go get something to eat, or I can take you over to the place.
Like being so nice.
Yeah. And so you kind of see like, and she kind of like takes to that, like, okay, like, I appreciate it. I need someone who knows, how to get around.
How to know the
but
streets.
he still was kind of a little standoffish, because he was like, well, I drive for the mayor, like I'll see who we can, get. And like you kind of saw in her face, like, okay, Nick, you gonna be driving me. You can say what you want, but
exactly.
bottom line is you're gonna be driving me.
That was exactly her face. She was just like,
right. Say what you want to say.
Say what you want because you're definitely going to be my driver. It's a done deal.
It's a done deal. So that'll be like I said, in terms of that relationship blossoming, because it looks like, at least from some of the mayors talking and even some of the episodes, that maybe Nick's got his hand in some dirt, and who knows, maybe that'll affect Jessica, or that might come, if he's into some stuff, like, and he's driving her or involved with her, or maybe if she gets into some things, or maybe she finds out something about Nick, and it's like, Nick, I didn't know you were,
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but for me, I got I don't know why I got this feeling, but I have a feeling, Nick, because of his actions, I am having little spidey senses where I'm like, ooh, is he like developing a itty bitty little crush on Jessica?
Oh.
So I'm just saying, I'll leave it for predictions, but I mean, I don't know.
Maybe feel that, like you said, I mean, if that happens, I mean, that would probably drive a wedge between him and him and Bobby. They're like, I think like step brothers or half brothers, something like that. They're not
because he mentioned something about his father.
Right. So
remember when we did this, and then it was your father.
Right. So
and I was like, oh, so it's your father, but not your father.
Right.
Like, so I was like, something's there. Yeah.
So if something, like you said, if that was the case, and maybe he did like take a liking to Miss Torres.
Yes, Pearson.
Miss Pearson. Sorry. Miss Pearson.
Same people.
Yeah, that could be another interesting little mix, because then it's like, hey, I gotta, but you know what? I mean, I've already forgot. She has the boyfriend, so I don't know how.
Right, but he didn't go to Chicago with her.
It's true. He's in Florida right now, so she's like,
He's like, hey,
this nice big old apartment's open. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not trying to start no stuff. I'm not trying to writers. I mean, unless you want to call me in now.
I'll be hello. He's an actor.
I'll send in a little storyline for you guys. I got some ideas. So yeah, that'll, like you said, that's definitely a storyline I think we will
unveil.
Yes, and keep our eyes on going forward to see how that turns out. And one last thing that I really wanted to that I hadn't mentioned in the beginning, but I think was definitely an important part, Miss Yoli Castillo.
Oh my goodness.
Coming into the mix. And I think she's gonna be Jessica's little super sleuth, because
But you see how, like, in the beginning, it was nothing like they just like butt head right away. That's the moment where I heard some Spanish, and I said to myself, okay, these writers are really brilliant if they can hear, because this situation has happened to me before, where because here in LA, the Mexicans sometimes don't know if I'm Spanish, especially that my English there's no accent.
Right.
So
they don't know
I hear them speaking Spanish, and then I'm just like, yo te entendí completamente.
Oh!
You know what I mean? And then they look at me and they're like,
gotcha. What?
Oh, ¿tú hablas español? And I'm like, yes, I do speak Spanish. So that moment was such a, like, I related so much to that moment. And I said to myself, oh my God, are you kidding me right now? When Jessica turned and spoke Spanish to her and the security guy, I was like, bam, high five. There you go, in your face, but boom.
Right. No, that's and like you said, the fact that at the end, you know, Jessica was just like, hey, you remind me of me.
Yes.
And so, like you said, because Yoli kind of had that little attitude, you know, and I mean, she was kind of playing the, looked like trying to play like the little victim role, like when she got fired, like, you got this done, all this, you know, and Jessica was like, whatever, girl, basically,
whatever.
like,
because I know the law.
Exactly.
And you know what? Your fingers are the ones that got you in trouble,
Taking responsibility.
not me.
Right.
Take responsibility.
And the fact, the way that she did it was so real. I mean, the way she was talking to her, and she was like, well, you really didn't have anything to do with it? And she was like, no, I didn't. Just turned around, got her stuff, and walked out. I was like, dang, Jessica's just cold. Like, I don't have time to deal with no nonsense.
Exactly.
You know? Like,
but you know, she saw the fire in her eyes, so then that's why she was like, I like that
probably
scene.
like I could mold her and use, you know, I see a lot of me in her, like that kind of fieriness. I could use that, you know. And she was like, the fact that obviously that she's got roots within there, knows everybody. So again, Jessica's a smart girl.
How well do you know Ida?
Right.
Like, you know? Yes,
so, like,
I know them all.
And I could totally see Yoli just reporting back, you know, hey, so and so, or you want to, you know, that giving her intel that she needs, maybe, you know, to maneuver around what's going on. So
and then, so, you know, since the mayor doesn't know any Spanish, or at least for what we know of right now, this could be like her little, like when she's with her other employees, she can just throw a little Spanish, like, go do this and that for me. Hágamelo ahora mismo, pásate, mira, te voy a mandar esto. You know, that type of stuff. Like, I mean, just little secret codes, but in Spanish. Like, no, we were just girl chatting.
Right. Yeah, no, I think she's gonna be a big, well, you know what'll be interesting is when, you know, Jessica was like, hey, you start tomorrow. She shows up. I would love to see Derek's face, since he was the one who had told her, like, oh,
he's the one who fired.
I'm about to fire you, right? You know, so I know if he's going to be like, no, like, what do you, and she's probably going to be like, like, you know, so I don't know if maybe they might have to work together, because it sounds like she might be, like I said, in the either PR or information gathering, and I know that's what he does, so maybe that might be an interesting little, like, you know, again, almost like Jessica and Carrie, like maybe they might butt heads, like, man, you got me, you tried to get me fired, or you did get me fired, now I'm back, you know, type thing, and I'm working for Jessica, you know, type thing, so now you can't do nothing, like, oh, buddy. So I mean, again, overall, great episode. Really enjoyed it, and really definitely looking forward to, like you said, how they take things to the next level.
Oh yeah.
So
definitely
moving on from that, I want to get into our segment of basically our top 3 segments. So for everybody out there, our top 3 segments this week is our top 3 quotable moments, or, you know, moments that really just kind of either moved you, something happened, or someone said something that you were like, ooh, you know, or maybe it was like, oh, you know, maybe it was a revelation. For me, I actually had 2. One was the Jessica, you remind me of me. Just because, like you said, when she said that, you know, Yoli's kind of defenses and everything kind of really was like, ooh, like, really? You know, like she really took it in, and you could see. And, you know, Jessica's always had just a kind of that cold look, like, you know, she kind of had the sly smile, like, you know, but it was just really, like you said, you could kind of see like, oh, this relationship is about to form, you know, is forming right here.
It's forming right here before our eyeballs.
It's definitely.
I love that moment. My goodness. It's a beautiful moment.
And the other one for me was at the press conference when Bobby was talking about Jessica. And saying how Miss Pearson was a big part of the negotiations, all this, and she is, quote, an important part of my administration, end quote, which a couple scenes earlier he had been telling, you know, the police chief had told him, if she's going to be part of your administration, we don't know if we can do business with you. You need to get her out. So I don't know if that was like a little jab to the chief, like she here, and she basically, you know, got this thing done. Did you guys in? What?
Yeah, that was
mic drop. You know, I think.
Bam! That was definitely a jab.
Right.
If I've ever seen or heard one.
Right.
I was like, I'm like, there you go.
That's how she does it. Even without saying it, she's like, I'm still a mic drop. I'm gonna have somebody else do it for me. You know,
Yeah.
Pearson.
Yeah, and then I
boss.
really loved when she got to speak and say how she wants to change things around and how she is all about the community and wants to make a difference. I was like, man, are you running for president?
Right.
Please run for president because the
on the
United
ballot.
States needs a new president.
Right. Now, for you, what was your quotable moment or moment of the show that's kind of stood out for
Well,
you?
that was one of them when she spoke.
Okay.
And she got to do the press release.
Right.
You know, that was amazing how she spoke about that. That was one of them, but I already just said it, so that's all good. But I loved when there was that interchange with her and Yoli in Spanish. It just hit home because for me, I was just like, oh my God, that's like my life. Like, so anytime they were speaking Spanish and English, I was like, oh yeah, that's my world, especially when I'm back east with family and stuff.
That's a huge thing.
That
right
is
there.
definitely, yeah. And I loved when Lillian came over and made breakfast. I was like, oh.
Like you said, that was definitely a relatable moment for me because I was like, yeah, that's like my grandma right there. Like when I was younger, you know, like
Yeah,
I wanna
they
go-
don't care, right? They don't care. They're like, we don't care what job you have. You know, you just tell your boss and
Exactly.
be your own boss anyway. And you're going to have breakfast as the most important meal of the
Exactly.
day.
And no matter how old you get, you know, you could be you're a kid,
care.
grown men. You know, you know when grandma comes around and speaks, oh, okay, grandma. You're like,
Yeah. Don't you turn like 5 years old?
Yeah,
Like all of
yeah.
a sudden you're like, okay.
yep, no, you're
Sí,
right.
señora.
Right.
Sí, abuelita.
Right. Is that all you want to eat? And be like, yeah, no, I'm good. No, here, have another one. Okay. You know?
Yeah.
So that's great. So and like I said, you guys, if you guys had, you know, your quotable moments or moments that kind of stood out to you, definitely send those in. We'd love to hear about them. What your favorite moments of the show
Yes,
were.
please.
So now I do want to move into a special segment real quick. You're in contempt. There you hear it, the gavel going down. What's up?
What's up?
You're in contempt, for those out there, is our special segment where we go through the episode and we just, you know, when you're in contempt of the court, it's because the judge, you've done something that the judge does not like. Well, we here on the after show, Jackie and I are the judges. So if there's parts there, you know, throughout the show, I just take down notes of like, oh, I can't believe so-and-so did this, or I can't believe they said this. So my you're in contempt moment was definitely Bobby D'Amato, or when he was talking with Carrie at the end, and he was saying like, oh, I'm going to go tuck my kids in. Is that okay? And then she was like, and I'm like, boy, if you don't get your behind, you know,
You better get home.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
To your
but
wife.
you done messed up again, son. That's 2
Jeez.
episodes in a row. So that gets the gavel for me. Boom, boom,
Boom,
boom.
boom, boom.
You're in
Oh.
contempt, Bobby D'Amato.
Bobby D'Amato, you're in contempt.
You're in contempt.
Oh man, I should have been a lawyer in another lifetime. My you're in contempt is how dare you, Yoli? I mean, I didn't even like you from the beginning
Ooh.
because of how she threw Jessica under the bus with all those texting. But I guess because she made such a huge like, you know, I mean, she wouldn't have been put out there like that if she didn't do the texting and she didn't get fired, which led to, okay, you know what, you're a little bit like me. So it was all for a reason. But right in the beginning, I was like, come on, Yoli, stick to la Latinas junta, Dios mío, ¿qué te pasa, chica?
Right.
Yeah, I was like,
What
he's
she
like-
said.
he's
What she
like,
said.
whatever she's
Yoli,
talking
come on,
about.
right?
Come on,
You know,
Yoli.
Miss Castillo.
Contempt.
Right.
Yoli.
You're in contempt, Yoli. Now in terms of news segment, real quick.
AfterBuzz TV News.
We got the little update there. Just to let you guys know, you know, Gina Torres, she's out here killing the game, man. Like I said, she was in Suits, obviously moved over from Suits here to starring in Pearson. Well, people, she was recently cast a couple days ago, according to Deadline. I believe it was July 19th. They reported that she's been cast in this movie called The Hating Game, which is a romantic comedy starring Lucy Hale from Pretty Little Liars and Robbie Amell. And she is going to play, surprise, surprise, a co-CEO of a recently merged publishing house where Hale and Amell work at. So staying true to her casting. You know, they found like, hey, this is your lane. This is what you are. You're very good at powerful, you know, big boss women jobs, you know, CEOs, big corporate lawyers. So boom, she's fitting right in. So
exactly.
That's little news update on Gina Torres. Keep doing it, doing your thing, girl. Maybe you can come in here and talk to us more in person on the Pearson After Show. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. All right.
I would love that.
Exactly. Now let's move into our predictions for
your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, a lot going on. My prediction. Going forward, like I said, we still have not addressed that picture at the beginning. So I'm hoping
Carl the neighbor.
Yeah, that they address that, like I said, in I don't know, next time. It seems like they would have to. Like, they just can't leave us hanging like that, you know.
But
so
it's TV, so they might leave us hanging another extra episode.
This is true. I feel that there will be some progression in the Angela Pearson relationship, or some, I don't want to say closure, but maybe something will happen where we find out some more in terms of what's going on in that relationship, why she doesn't like Jessica so more. So that's kind of my prediction for next episode.
Ooh, that's good. That's so good. I'm predicting that Jessica and Angela are gonna somehow slowly, it's not gonna happen fast, it's gonna happen slowly, but they're gonna see a little bit more eye to eye. And I think it's because that little last clue at the ending where she gave her the money. I mean, Pearson did not want to take the money, but she was just like, okay, this she's either going to drop it on the ground or I'm just going to take it, because I'm thinking she's going to give it to her aunt anyways at some point, because she does not.
Because the aunt will take it. Aunt Lillian will be like, thank you so much.
That's right. Aunt Lillian is going to be like, thank you. So needed that.
Right. You
so
know?
I think because of that clue, something's going to go on with the paparazzi. So because they took a picture. So I'm like, oh no, you know this does not look good, because
we actually didn't know who took we saw the picture being taken, but
right,
like she was being followed, maybe someone.
Like someone's trying to frame her for something. Here we go again.
Here we go.
Yeah, so it's gonna be juicy.
There we go.
Next episode. Stay tuned for that.
Yes, indeed, people. So that's gonna do it for us this week. Thank you guys for stopping by. We appreciate it. Like I said, please send us in all your, contempt moments and all your other thoughts, because we definitely love reading about them and responding to them.
Absolutely.
So where can they follow you on social media?
Yes, you can follow me at Jackie Nova 7, and you can go to oxfilms.us. is a Richard Ryan film. Art of Deception is the name of my movie, feature film. I play a real kick-ass in that, and it comes out in the fall. And you can also find me here at AfterBuzz on Sundays at 4 o'clock with Jet, another powerful female lead. And then you can find me Tuesdays here at 9 o'clock at night for Bring the Funny. That's where you can find me.
Great shows. And my name's Tanir Williams. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at TanirW. That's TENEREW. And you guys have a great week. Like I said, we will be back here, same bat time, same bat channel next week. We hope you guys stay with us, join us.
Yes.
And have a great week, and we will see you then.
Buzz you later.
Peace.
Bam.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.